Okay, so how do you want me to discuss this? One by one, shall we discuss GS4? Same way, same pattern we'll discuss. See, I think now you would have understood. See, I think I was right about one thing, wrong about another thing. I think I said women's reservation bill will not be passed. I think I said today, I think they are going to pass. It's a good thing. Maybe if they pass, nanume our go to போட்டுருவேன். Maybe pass என்ன reason கொடுக்குறாருன்னு பார்ப்போம். But what I'm trying to say is that I was wrong. I accept that. As a teacher, it is very important not only to say things, to accept if I am wrong, yes, I am wrong. But in civil services, I was not wrong. Very closely watch that. See, I kept repeating the fact every time that be, systematic, be with this examination. Don't think about test batches. Why I kept saying is that now look at the question paper. This question paper, if we had prepared like, Acumen, we would get the maximum score. Two other facets are there, which is option 1 and which is essay 1. See, that is what I said. The competition then will go to optional. And in optional, if we start writing in passages and not having an analysis, there also we'll get problem. So what students will immediately think, we have not added more test batches. So extra 2 test batches we'll put. But the problem will be in maybe optional. Like the way we do in, for GS in Acumen, we have to do it for optional, whichever option. See, the option can be, philosophy, engineering, whatever, geography, whatever option it may be. Whether you did something like how we did in Acumen, precise. Okay, well, today I'll start with this question paper of GS4. We'll start. Okay, well, GS4. I'm going to use the questions and the question paper. First, what shall we go to the quote, which is the toughest thing? Quote is the toughest thing. Case study I will not be solving today. Case study is again a big thing. First, we'll solve the A portion, and maybe some other GS question we'll try to solve. Essay, see, essay also, maybe how to, solve all the questions. In maybe one more class we may have in Thursday, we'll have again. But I cannot, compress everything into one class. I'll try my best and we'll look at it. First question on the and this discussion, this discussion about whether this, what is the first view of this question paper, whether this was an easy question paper, whether it was a tough question paper. This discussion is absurd. Absurd is it? If I say easy, that doesn't make you that you will get a higher score. 4 papers are there. Many times it has happened for me, like I would feel that this paper I have written very well. I'll score less in that. This paper I did not do well at all. This was, very tough paper. I would score more in that. This discussion, that is why from the first beginning I said, don't go into these trivial discussions of whether option will be there, option will not be there, whether this is a tough, this is slow. My job is to clear. Clearing is here. That is what, this is Bhakti movement. Your relationship is with only UPSC. No other person in between has to say whether this is tough, this is low, nothing like that exists. Because today, if I say easy, 3-4 months down the line, then 6 months down the line, mark will come. No one will know what mark came, My job is to write this, clear this, go to interview. Think in terms of that. Okay, first question we'll go. Quotes, shall I solve? Quotes எழுதலாமா quotes? Okay, shall we solve this? Okay, simplest acts of kindness. So faster we'll solve. You also see, and one more thing, you try to write it. Okay, you have to try and write this. What is that? Okay, I tried writing. Actually, I tried writing after so many days. I tried writing and I lost sleep. Till now I was sleeping better. Okay, one day I tried again as I did in UPSC, and I also added that essay mathematics. You look at that. Okay, and one more thing in essay is that essay is a reflection of you. Same framework, same, you have to explain these key terms. That does not exist at all. Your reflection and flow matters, whether you have identified the question and the flow. Now, shall we solve this? And I'll come to the essay a little later. Simplest of acts of kindness are by far more powerful than 1,000 heads bowing in prayer. Now you tell me, what shall we, okay, simplest, what can be, any chuma FD. Then any quote, see, and if you think about it, the definition part, that is why I kept on stressing. Okay, I wanted you to have a separate note. Do you remember? If you had note, corruption is a question. So yeah, I kept on saying Sandhanam committee, Sandhanam. Why na? I know for a fact that inside the hall you cannot, conjure up some definition. No, it's not possible. Here, it's very difficult to conjure up a definition. So anything, any quote that you can say will be, what is the quote that you say? Helping. Okay. So, but I went for this talks. See, I explained, first I explained this concept of, that's also, this quote talks about, so the dichotomy of, so this quote talks about the dichotomy of helping someone in need. So helping someone in need and prayers for the welfare of society. See, first, this is what I meant by, if I do this, I have cracked the question. Why I write this is precisely to crack the question. Inside the hall, you will not find time to write many points. When I do this, I analyze the framework. Here, this is the framework. It's a dichotomy between helping someone in need and praying for the welfare of the society. You get this idea? Okay. Now the point is that now simplest acts of kindness and prayer. Now what do you do? Either the sympathy and compassion we can write. But to the question you tell me. So look at that question. It says simplest acts of kindness are far more powerful than 1,000 heads bowing in prayer. I have to talk about two things. Simplest acts of kindness. See, that is what I said. That is why I kept on saying formula based, thinking phase based. Simplest acts of kind. Is it right? You say simplest acts of, you fill it kindness. Okay, kindness is greater than prayers. Okay, first part. So can I talk about like this? That is what the question says. Now I start illustrating. This is what is the most important part which you take from newspaper. For example, we should not write, we can write passages. But Anna, what are the simplest acts which you feel are, more powerful than prayers? You can say simple, but Anna, first start from the simplest act. India's ending COVID is the highest act. Okay, simplest act. Midday meal scheme, that also see, in the layer, think about it. First layer should be the simplest individual. She has gone to international, you have gone to national. Okay? Now come to state, now come to Panchayat Raj, now come to the individual level. See, can I say that individual level, not throwing, or see, or e-waste, the mobile that I have, or not kindness, okay. This is kindness. Okay. So, okay. E-waste, plastic waste, biodegradable waste. Okay. I actually, what I do is that I categorize them and I give it to the person who is collecting every day in Panchayat. See, bring in, there is no point. If e-waste rules we have studied. I said that actually e-waste rules I thought would come. But is this not a simple act of kindness? See, instead of praying for a good environment, can I, work on myself? This is a point. Next, one more. Can I say Swachh Bharat toilets? Okay, Swachh Bharat or toilets I build in my place, which will not only give me proper nutrition, it's also stopping communicable diseases in the society. Think in the layered form. Okay, well, you check this point. 2 pages, and one more thing, page count. Okay, well, page count. Whenever you write, stick to the page count. And on the top of it, I saw students writing the time taken. Actually, that is a good habit. In above every question, write down 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour, write it down. Have an, collection of things so that we can come back again. You get this idea? So now when I write this, any other point? Simple acts. See, think about, this is the point. International aid, Poshan, people will write simplest acts. Any other simplest act? During COVID, you think about it one? Planting trees. Okay. You can, or this is correct. But I will add COVID. See, wearing a mask. Is it not a simple act of kindness? See, giving your seat in the bus. In the notes, where this note, which notes, what material? When I either convert pani na material agirra. But Anna, these are, see, this is what, and all the material related answers will come to me for correction. Your paper will also come to me for correction. You think that day itself I said, this examination is not an examination for any officer or my not any minds of nothing. It's an examination you write for the person who is correcting. Look at from that person's perspective. He or she is correcting from the morning, 30 days they will be correcting, they will be inside a room, they will be looking for, novelty. Novelty, that does not mean that you have to put in points from anywhere and they will look for you. This is you. You get this idea? Who you are, because see, why I have not included international. Next, okay, one more thing which you said, so volunteers. So can I say volunteering? Okay, volunteering I can have for anything. COVID, one more thing I will use, and one more thing, look at this. Answering la, I will have a sequence of things, and I will also have what is called as here if I use something, I will not use it here again. Here COVID I have already had la, so in the sense I will not use something here. Here Panchayat Raj I have used, I will not use it again. You get this idea? You should start building this habit of, wide. You can have so many, and food, you can have food during the migration which happened, providing food. All these things, if you see, next point, you come to this point. See, this is what this is what you have to do. If you sit and think, points will definitely come. You know the points. And what I am trying to say is that through these methodology and reading newspaper, you can actually enhance your answer to the level that it is needed. Then you get a score in your in your optional. No one can stop you from going inside. No one, if you can do this, okay, if you can do this, and in optional, same way you have to do. The problem in Chennai, not Chennai, problem in why result is not coming is that we are not being able to compete with the people who are being trained to that extent in optional. Whichever option, whichever political science, whichever see, we are losing against that. That is why I kept on saying that, see, a geography mark varla, all the score was high only. Topper score was equivalent to the score I scored in essay also. Where I used to lose was all these, institute trained optional papers. I was reading for myself. That you are a point at that day, I think Jackson or the sense on that day I said, option is your responsibility. Okay, don't think somebody else is going to come and give you optional mattum, don't think and wait for somebody to train you. You keep on training yourself to the extent it is needed. Get help if it is necessary. Get help if it is given. But don't keep wasting your time thinking that political science or this will not, or psychology like, you get this idea. So your responsibility. If you can do that in the paper, I assure you, you will go to the interview. Once you go to the interview, you will get the service. Interview, you have to, add on few more things of how you speak, and that we will talk about. So here is the answer over. Here is the answer over. Read that question again. Read that question again. Is the answer over? Check that question again. Simplest acts of kindness are by far more powerful than 1,000 heads bowing in prayer. See, when they give a statement like this, it means that your simplest act is more. But it also means that prayers are not that inferior. Prayers are also important. For example, can I say prayers equal to, so act of kindness. Can I say that this is this part? See, one writing only simplest, I can write the whole thing. Simplest acts of kindness. We can talk about India being, friendly to. Why I did not use that COVID vaccine, I'll tell you later, because one more question is there where I'm going to talk about that. If prayers are acts of kindness, can you say anything? Think, one more thing. This is what I said. When you don't get points, think from this angle. Prayers, 6 religions, Terima. How many religions do you know? 5 religion, minimum 5 religion. Each religion you think about an act which they done, which is an act of kindness. Correct? That is my first point. For example, in Punjab, that Gurudwara, what they did, they actually, during the time of COVID, they also gave these oxygen cylinders. But Anna, COVID, one more time, here it is going to come. So I will here talk about Gurudwaras. Yeah, Gurudwaras. Oxygen supply I have. Yeah, okay. Oxygen supply I have. So Gurudwaras, in that next you think about it. Mosques used as shelters during COVID, not COVID, tsunami. You know where this point came from? யோசிச்சுட்டே இருந்தேன் பாயிண்ட் வரல. See, இப்போ while writing answers அதெல்லாம் வந்து யோசிச்சுட்டுலாம் இருக்க முடியாது. See, whether I read this question, I have not read this question. Point valid தானே? தசாவதாரம் எல்லாரும் பார்த்திருக்கீங்க. Everyone would have seen தசாவதாரம். Definitely it is a true fact also. Then see, if I write this, I have to write church. Anything? So one thing which I read was Pope few days ago, actually few days left, few months ago, Pope said, see, LGBTQT, it's God's wish now. It results in attitudinal change. Attitude change. Okay, 1,000 prayers is also, 1,000 heads bowing in a prayer is also good. Correct? So now one more thing. Temples, food. See, that is why I did not get Gurudwara. That is why I did not write about food. Okay, so here food. Answer over. Now closely watch this. There is nothing material in this. I have not quoted any material. I have not quoted any case study of an officer who has done any work. அந்த புக்கை படிச்சுட்டு போனீங்க. இப்போ இதுல நம்ம எழுதுவோம் ஆன்சர். எனக்கு ஒரு பாயிண்ட்ல சொல்லுங்க, which officer what he did னு where I quoted னு பேசுவோம். அடுத்த क्वेश्चन பேசுவோமா? Next question is, okay, next question is one more quote. Which is the next quote? Okay. Okay. There was one more question. Vivek, Abdul Kalam's quote, you remember? That is, when there is, first class we discussed this. When there is beauty in character, there is goodness in something. And there is goodness in something, it makes the family better, then the nation better. I think we have discussed this. Harmony in nation will be there. You read this again. Similar now. We just have to, change one word. That is for the whole society. Here they talk about women. You get this harmony in, they were talking about in individual there. Here they are talking about women. So now come to this point. See, that is why the first day நடத்தணும். எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு அந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸ்ல அந்த டிட்டர்மினன்ட்ஸ் ஆஃப் எத்திக்ஸ் அன்னைக்கு நான் அதை சொன்னேன், கடைசியில சொன்னேன், இப்படி பிரெயின் ஸ்டார்ம் பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னு. அன்னைக்கு ஏன் சொன்னா, இந்த when a question like this comes, you just write it with your heart and move away. You should, for this now if we don't prepare like that, we have to think points for this. Inside the hall, see, we have to address everything. Women, when she is on the move, family moves, village moves, nation moves. 5-6 categories are there. Now, shall we talk about the answer faster? Okay, see how I'm going to complete and I am not again sure. This is the first class because I know the extent of things which we have to discuss. I was thinking whether it was possible for me to give every angle possible, but Anna, almost we went everywhere. Yeah. So today we'll also think about doing the same thing. So introduction for this. This quote, what can be the introduction? Nari Shakti program, or see, the program inside it will come. But introduction should be, so like for example, in mythology, see two types I will say. Okay, two types I'm going to talk about. So one is, quote based, mythological based. In mythology, so for example, you can also talk mythology, the Indian mythology. Okay, the Indian mythology states that Lord Shiva and Parvati are equal, okay, equal in space, but in India, we find that only 14% of women are in parliament, which I think today will change. See, but Anna, I never thought, seriously, I never thought. Satyama, I never thought that they will pass this. But anyways, see, there is Richard Dawkins. Have you heard Richard Dawkins? No. Richard Dawkins is an anthropologist. See, he writes about his professor. His professor used to teach about cell. In the cell, there are so many organelles. So at one point, it was thought that ribosome or organelle. So it was thought that there was no organelle like that. So he used to teach, the ribosome is not there. So other things he used to teach. But one day what happened? So Richard Dawkins studied in Oxford. So what happens is that research happens and they prove that ribosomes are there. So he comes to the class. Richard Dawkins says that his professor comes to the class and says that, so what we were seeing, so cell structure. Sir, the research, yes. Till now, I thought it was not there, but now it is there. So from today, we'll read ribosomes. So I think, see, from this is the introduction I have, but now I can include the passage of the bill in that. If Nari Shakti and the passage of the bill, I will include in the answer. Introduction should be, this is true. That is, you state the fact first. It is like this. This is one type. The next type, you can also say global gender gap index. Correct? Global gender gap index, women, or global gender gap index, India is what rank, 120. See, introduction should be a powerful, I think I have spoke about this. Introduction should be a powerful one. Don't waste the things that you're reading for prelims. Global gender gap index, you read for prelims. Here you can definitely say that, see, it is 1.27 out of 143, I think 143 or 146, which is lowest among the BRICS nation or global south. Why I included this was recently I was reading paper about BRICS. You get this idea now. See, 1 week ago I was reading BRICS. We have a low gender index when compared to BRICS countries. You can include that. So now you talk about, so hence the see, look at the question. Hence the following steps should be taken. Okay, following steps. Okay, following steps to make women move. Okay, what are the steps? Now you can See, I took two, how I wrote, and this question I wrote. See, I'm not taking points, and so I wrote. When I write, there are some problems and difficulties in order for me to match the page. So, see, there are so many points. Women to move, Nari Shakti, many points are there. Correct? So, what I did was, for example, first, labor force participation has to be increased. Okay, labor force participation has to be increased. Increased from 23%, right? You remember the data class? I gave this data. Okay, wow. All the data that we discussed that day, it came in questions. GDP came. First question in GS paper 3, GDP. Food production came. Everything that, see, I was not able to give you some data or discuss some data. Water resources I discussed in class. India 4,000 BCM is the total amount. In that, utilizable is 1800 BCM, the freshwater utilization. GS paper 1, freshwater has come. Urbanization is, if urbanization was 10% in 1950, now it is around 30%. It will go around 40 to 50%. Urbanization question came. See, your job is to go and look for the exam. It is by the exam, for the exam, and everything is for the exam. Whatever, and if you see, whatever I spoke, I did not speak out of context. This point will be used. Correct? Where, what movement you have to decide inside the hall. Now, see, here can I use it? For labor force, I have to increase. So, up fast, I will say the free bus pass. Example, Karnataka. Okay. So, creche facility in companies. Creche facility in companies. There is a scheme for that. What scheme? Guidelines. Creche, the prelims question. Not a scheme, maybe Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, they have mandated this, or one more act is there. Creche facility central union scheme is there. One act is there. Under that, creche facility has to be given, and it was a question asked in prelims. I think under medical term, maternal. See the Maternal Benefit Act. See, this is not enough for me. This is not enough. You get this idea? Creche facility. Okay, adukku. You tell me it is there in Maternal Benefit Act, because that is how I am making women move. Free bus pass. Okay. Given in Karnataka. Scheme, Karnataka scheme, Karnataka scheme, see, it's not possible to remember all the state scheme. Union scheme, you remember. Karnataka, what they do. Odisha, what they do. Tamil Nadu, what they do. Get this idea? So, creche facility can be there to, and then Vishaka guidelines. So, look at this. For this 3, okay, for this 3, next I will write one more thing. Okay, next one more thing to move. So, health and education need to be improved. Health and education. Here, everything, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Yeah, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Poshan scheme, where cooked nutritious meal is provided. Okay, Janani Suraksha Yojana. Okay, Janani Suraksha. Okay, anemia book or okay, what I did was 3 space. So many things. Actually, you can write with anemia mukt Bharat itself. You know, anemia mukt. You can have one. So, for example, 1 point. You can write anemia mukt. So, anemia. You can write. So here, you can actually give some, you know, flow chart or something like that. This flow chart which I am putting is not my flow chart. This I saw in economic survey. That is why when I see this, immediately I think about this flow chart can come. How you can put na anemia in India is 50% la. Okay, or 50% National Family Health Survey says. So because of this, children with stunting and wasting. You know, you have read on stunting and wasting data, irka 38 to 35. Remember this data? GS4 la, GS3, why did it come? Now, don't read philosophers. Plato படிச்சு என்னங்க செய்ய போறீங்க எனக்கு தெரியலங்க. Read GS paper 1, 2, 3. That is what is GS paper 4. There is no difference between இப்ப இந்த question, all the question எடுத்துக்கலாம். You tell me, where did I use Plato? Where did I use Socrates? ஷோஃபர்னு ஒருத்தர் இருக்காரு, இல்ல நீட்ஷேன்னு ஒருத்தர் இருக்காரு, எழுதிருவோமா? Where can I use these people? This is not a philosophy paper. GS paper 4 is 1 plus 2 plus 3 is GS paper 4. Quotes also I am not using. You look at it. Quotes, see, I can இதுதான் நான் இன்னைக்கு காஃப்கால சொன்னேன். Quotes I can dictate in class. How many quotes are you going to mug up? Your brain capacity you are wasting. Instead of doing mugging up, you can actually, you know, think about what can be written. You spend your time in that. Don't spend your time in, you know, frivolous things. Einstein சொல்றாரு, see, this brain is not there to dump data into it or, you know, frivolous things into it. This brain is for thinking. The Einstein சொல்றாரு, you know, you should not waste your time in mugging up. இதுல நான் எங்க கோட் எழுதுனேன்? You tell me, do you think that they will give less marks because I have not? See, all the schemes இருக்கு. கை வச்சு மார்க் குறைக்கட்டும் பார்க்கலாம். See, we should challenge. அதுதான் நான் சொல்றேன். இதுல எந்த பாயிண்ட்ல they can reduce my mark? You get this idea? Don't be scared about this examination. இந்த பூச்சாண்டி வேலை யாரு காமிச்சாலும் ஒத்துக்காதீங்க. இப்போ quotes இருக்குங்க. See, I know quotes because I have read for 12, 13 years. Assuming a girl or a boy who comes 23, 24, they would not have that much world experience to write a quote. இப்ப நான் அததான் சொல்றேன். இப்ப உட்கார்ந்து எழுதுறோம். When I sit down to write, if I had not mugged up the quotes, I cannot write. Correct? If I had mugged up the quotes, I will write. But without mugging up the quotes, answer is flowing la. I am not worried about a quote. I am, see, இதெல்லாம் வருது. இங்க பாருங்க, இதெல்லாம் மிஸ் ஆயிடும். If I am worried about some quote which I read in order for me to quote in this paper, I will forget all these things which are very essential for this paper. இதுல ஆனா எனக்கு நிஜமாவே தெரியலங்க, எங்கங்க philosophy எழுதுறது? இது என்னது? இது என்ன கொஸ்டின்? விமன் எந்த ஏதாவது எழுதுவோமா? நீட்ஷே பிளாட்டோ எழுதலாம். பிளாட்டோ எழுதலாம். See, Plato used to say that women have not been developed because of this class-based society which they have come, and childbearing becomes very, very difficult, and because of that they are there in the process all the time. So they have to be liberated. Children have to be wards of the state. Children have to be wards of the state so that they have time for many work. Accepted. You can write for labor force participation. But ana idu enga poi padikkiradhu? Or is it necessary for you? See, I can teach you. தேவையாது இது political. இப்போ for example, I think அது இவர் வரல, ஓகே, லாயர் வரல. Political science, Plato is there. We'll ask them, இந்த கான்செப்ட் உங்களுக்கு தெரியுமா ஜி அப்படின்னு. அவங்க தெரியும்னு சொல்லட்டும், நம்ம மாத்திக்கலாம். தமிழ் ஆப்ஷன், ஆந்த்ரோபாலஜி ஆப்ஷன். See, use what you know. Play to your strength. If you play to your weakness, போச்சு. புரியுதுல? Your strength is, அதான் சொல்றேன், your strength is your knowledge-ங்க. Your strength is what you read. You are what you read. Use that. சரியா? இதுல so 3 points. So then, so point is that after this, so many things are there. After this, so many things are there. See, now I have to address each thing. How family moves. This is why I restricted in 3-3. Because I would not have space. Now I have to talk about how family moves. See, because of this, how family moves. Next, one more thing again. Nation moves. So then village moves. Then nation moves. So because of this, how family moves. Standard of living, quality of living. Quality of living high. How? So both parents earning. Yeah, both parents earning. Next, nutrition level high. Okay, wow. Nutrition level high. Third, both girl and boy children treated equally. 3, see, standard. When I wrote, this only came. I cannot write more. Space will not be there. When we write only, we will know how much things we can, because everything needs to be addressed. Here I have to address this. This I am addressing a little more. You think about this in the question, because this is the most important part. Introduction, I am saying that it is low. I am saying it moves. Then I start addressing each things. So how the village moves? Can you fill? Village, how it moves, na? Health is reduced. Village moves. Nation. The example that you say, out of pocket expenditure reduces. That is good for the nation. Village. Now think in terms of village. See, if the women in the village are good, so what happens to the village? Administration participation. Okay. Where? So can I say Kudumba Shri? Example, alcoholism reduced. Okay. So toilet facilities increased. So Swachh Bharat. Right? So this is out of pocket expenditure reduced. Next, GDP of the country increased. How GDP of the country increased? Because of high labor participation and a proper nutrition. With the active participation, you increase the GDP. You go check that question, Abdul Kalam question. In the answer illana enna kelunga. இவ்வளவு நேரம் நான் பேசணும்ல, இது எந்த ஆன்சர் தெரியுமா? எந்த பேஜ்ல நான் வச்சு பேசுறது தெரியுதுல? See, the page which I am using is what I used for Abdul Kalam's quote. Yeah, I wrote this na. You have to understand the fact that same dosa mavu தான். நான் இட்லியாவும் ஊத்துவேன், அதே தானே தோசை மாவு தானே அது. நான் ஆப்பமாவும் மாத்துவேன், ஓகேவா? இல்ல டைரக்டாவும் குடிப்பேன். Understand this examination. I don't think any other examination is there in this country which is egalitarian. If you don't work, it will not come. If I don't work for this, it will not come. I can read some notes, but this will not be there. See, adha solren, but they passed abdina. I told you that day, 2 factors you should take into consideration. If they have already prepared for group 1, they are out, excluded. I am not talking about them. Group 1 la உட்கார வச்சு நல்லா சிட்டி ரோபோ மாதிரி ஏத்திடுறாங்க. நீங்க கனவுல கேட்டா கூட அவங்க வந்து பாயிண்ட சொல்லிடுவாங்க. You will not be able to say the points. They can say the points. That is how group 1 is trained. Correct? Group 1 அப்படிதான் train பண்றாங்க. So if they come and say that I did not read newspaper, it does not apply to them as this logic. Second point is that, see, somebody reading notes, maybe it suited them. Maybe. You get this idea? But the point is that if you look closely, their marks would be high in optional. நான் திருப்பி அதான் சொல்றேன். If they come and say இல்ல பேப்பர் நான் படிக்கல அப்படின்னா, the mark would be high in optional or group 1. இங்க வந்து you have to read paper. Third point, they would have already read the paper. இந்த அட்டெம்ப்ட்க்கு படிச்சிருக்க மாட்டாங்க. இதான் பாயிண்ட். Maybe third, fourth attempt இருக்கும். You get this idea? The meaning is that you have to work. If you do not move, na இது எதுமே மூவ் ஆயிடாது. You get this idea? One more question shall we solve? See, women, if women are, இப்போ point என்னன்னா, Poshan Abhiyan for stunting and wasting, if I have to improve like that, I have to improve the toilet facilities in the village. This connection is nothing but it is a scheme which, see, and one more thing is that this is nothing but the scheme, policy. This women policy. Example, see, women policy, the policy in India is to improve the GDP. Correct? I have to become a $5 trillion economy. How do I do that? By increasing the participation of the people. Now we are giving this 33% reservation, increasing the participation. When you increase the participation, you get things done in the village. Ipo, I have to improve the nutrition in the society. Let us assume that I have to improve the DPSP point idhil irukku. So DPSP la welfare state. What is the article for this? I think 38 8 or 7 some 37 See, இப்போ group 1 எல்லாம் கேட்டிங்கன்னா அடிச்சு இந்த நேரம் அந்த ஆர்டிகல் எழுதிருப்பாங்க. அப்படினோ நம்ம யோசிக்கிறோம். You get this idea? That is why I did not include them when I spoke about reading newspaper. That is a different category of students, different type of competition. Leave that aside. But now come to this point. DPSP welfare state, it says that we have to increase the nutrition in the country. How do you increase the nutrition in the country? You have to first have urban local body governance. Oh, I have to increase the nutrition. How do I do that? Urban local body governance இருந்தா தானே நான் போய் அதுல இது செய்ய முடியும். If they are there, they can have this, okay, this is family, sorry. If they are there, they will implement then Swachh Bharat in my village. And the Swachh Bharat, if it increases, you know the concept that why nutrition or stunting and wasting is more in India is that one reason is lack of food. Okay, lack of nutritious food. Second is actually lack of toilets. If you don't have, adana point, if you don't have toilets, you will not observe the nutrition properly. You get this idea? That is why first in the Swachh Bharat came. Actually, in the government, that Swachh Bharat was a really remarkable move. See, if I have to increase the nutrition intake in my country and make stunting and wasting low, I have to improve the nutrition, right? That can be done only through a holistic process. Building, building toilets, simplest act of kindness we add. It's not only an act of kindness that you do for your family. It is something which you are doing for the village and as well as for the country. You get this idea? Next build, okay, so now see, look at Okay, one more, faster, one more. Which is that quote? Conclusion, இதுக்கு வந்து generica you can write in the sense, by doing this, we will improve the status of women in not only in India and the world. The point என்னன்னா, I would have read this newspaper article which says that 33% reservation is going to be passed. I will be inside the hall. Conclusion, that is why we are passing 33% reservation. Conclusion is a flow of answer. See, there is no specific conclusion. There is specific introduction. There is no specific conclusion. Conclusion is something which you actually decipher there. Not every question has to have conclusion also. Some questions should have way forward. நான் சொல்ற புரியுதா? See, அததான் சொல்றேன். Don't stick to the strict formula of, இப்படிதான் எழுது. Be free. இப்போ நான் அன்னைக்கே சொன்னேன். இப்போ இந்த conclusion you have not written அப்படின்னா, whether it cost you, no one knows ன்னு சொல்றேன். You get this idea? Way forward you are writing. இப்போ conclusion where the space will be. 2 papers are there. I have to write all these points and as well as a way forward. Let us assuming that இப்போ இதுல way forward இருக்கு. இந்த ஒரு this quote la, which quote is that? Love and see, now you tell me fast இதுக்கு. For here I am going to write this இப்போ conclude way forward எழுதுறேன். So love and hatred. So usually people say இது வந்து என்னன்னா, again you go for the quotes. I do not know any quote. So what I will do is that, see, love is an act of warmth, generosity, compassion towards fellow human beings. Itappa. Love can be defined in any way. Get this idea? For this, what quote? இப்போ நான் என்ன quote? ஏதாவது கண்டிப்பா நீங்க எழுதி வச்சிருப்பீங்க நோட்ஸ்ல. ஒரு quote ஒன்னு சொல்லுங்களா? கண்டிப்பா ஆனா லவ்வுக்கு quote இருக்கு. நான் பார்த்திருக்கேன் நோட்ஸ்ல. இப்ப சொல்லுங்க, டைரக்டா சொல்லுங்க. படிக்காம சொல்லுங்க. But this I can write without reading. Then hatred is a self-destructive act of vengeance, jealousy, and violence against fellow human beings. Finished. Now you come to, see, look at that question. So love in one form comes back to you in another form. Hatred does not, adula enna solranga, hatred திருப்பி வரும். Okay, hatred திருப்பி வருது இல்ல? So hatred, let us assume that hatred, first I am good and I will choose. First I will talk about the bad thing, next the good thing. Okay, I'm choosing here. Hatred blinds. Communalism. Mob violence. Dowry deaths. All this will come back to you. Terrorism. 3 points எடுக்குற. அப்போ mob violence, you can terrorism. See, how did I do அப்படின்னா, this is nation, this is society, this is individual. Simple. This is nation, problem in nation. This is a problem in a society. This is a problem in an individual. Look at this. Hatred comes back to you again. How do you prevent that? You have to have love. So how do you prevent that? But love comes back, right? So you write this. So love comes back. So again, any answer? Answer for this? Acts of love which comes back. Read the question. Answer is nowhere to be found. Answer is only here. Look around your society and think. Which are the acts of love which comes back again? Think about, see, if you don't get points, syllabus. Think about the syllabus. Syllabus la they've asked about family, work and things. So, see, parent, children love. So in old age, you will have protection la. Husband, wife love. Example, Sudha Murthy. Sudha Murthy is na pera. Infosys. Sudha Murthy is na. Okay. See, when let us assume that I was writing inside the hall Tono. Abraham Lincoln, Abdul Kalama, Sudha Murthiya, Vera Pera, Tono. அந்த நேரத்துல நான் ஒண்ணுமே பண்ணாம அதை அப்படியே இப்படின்ட்டு இன்ஃபோசிஸ் அப்படின்னு எழுதிடுவேன். இது இப்படி ஆயிடுச்சு, அவ்வளவுதான். மூர்த்தி எனக்கு தெரியும், கரெக்ட். மூர்த்தி இது எனக்கு தெரியும், இதுதான் எனக்கு டவுட். ஓகேவா? சோ ஒன் மோர், எனி ஒன். சோ 3, ஒன் மோர். கவர்மெண்ட் கரெக்ட் தான், சி கரெக்ட் தான். பட் ஆனா கவர்மெண்ட் எப்படி environment love பண்ணலாம்ல? See, you love the environment, protect the environment, it gives you ecosystem la, it gives you oxygen la. So love comes back to you. Three points. Farmer, animal la. So the love that you give towards your protected wildlife will come back to you. You get this idea? See, but Anna, these should be standard. You have in a syllabus. But Anna, this is not the end. Thus, love is universal. Thus, love is universal. Hatred is learned. Hence, you build a way forward, a society with the following qualities. Hence, we need a society with gender sensitization. Hence, we need a society with communal law prevention. See, communal violence prevention law, communal violence prevention law. And you also so dowry nation la. So you need an active participation in elections. See, this is not the only answer, but I feel this answer will work. Kandipa work out. Yeah. You can write friendly relations with nations also, right? Friendly relations with nations. See, I am merely using a framework in my mind, and organizing them in a clear sequence. There is no, if you see these three things, okay, so this is like this. These three things will be like in the this I did by nation, society, and individual. Here I went from family, then environment. Here I did not get points. Let us assume that if I don't get points, now family liye 2 irukku, children and idu irukku. You prepare like this. Shall we take a break? Break. We'll